Welcome, Counter Slammers. We just wanted to make this video since we haven't really done anything since our season finale. But something remarkable has happened since our season finale. I don't know if most people remember this, but if you watch the chat portion, we're like, "Yay, we hit 400 subscribers!" Like, and here we are, like a month later, we're at 500 now. So we want to say thank you to all the fans out there and the subscribers. Hopefully, with what we come up with here in the near future, maybe we can get even to 1,000 here even faster. Yeah. So you may be thinking, well, what changes does Counter-Slam have in store? Well, before we get into that, let's talk about what have we been up to? What have you been up to, Jose?
I've been working.
Yeah,
I've been working nonstop and painting and getting ready for my Intercessor Krios game against TJ. So I've been working on getting my list together. I think I have finally decided to go for my tier army on that.
Okay, you guys are going to do the cavalry versus cavalry list, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome. So now what we need to do is, if you guys can wait a couple months, like I'll get my cavalry, and we can I'll come in like top of turn 2 or something like that. Like I'll have my army come in with all cavalry, like the Soul Hunters and the Bane cavalry. So,
well, definitely a lot of cavalry coming out right now. We got Vengeance coming up here pretty soon. They have finally started to release stats on everything.
Yeah, we'll get into that here in a second too, because I definitely want to talk about that. But before we get into the I guess I'll explain what I've been up to. So for 2 weeks, we've been getting a lot of snow here in Indianapolis, so I've had a lot of time by myself. And my best friend John started playing the game, and he plays Retribution. Well, he came by during one of the snowstorms, and he dropped off his army. He's like, "Hey, can you paint this for me?" Like the whole army. And I'm like, the whole Retribution army is what I ended up painting. So I painted it like in 2 weeks. I painted an entire Retribution army, and this is actually the Colossal. You can see here the Hyperion. Now, to be fair, my friend John had done a lot of this already, but I went through and added a lot of the chrome and the blue and some of the metallic colors and stuff like that he didn't own. So I did a lot of work on that, and it looks a lot better.
It looks good.
So it was a lot of fun to paint. I also painted a lot of my own army, which you guys can see on our Facebook page. Facebook.com/CounterSlam. I found a cool red paint. It's called Stoplight Red Metallic from Model Master, and it's an enamel paint, and it's weird because it goes on almost clear, and really I think it would be used as like stoplights is what it says, but you paint it on black and it looks like it's off. So imagine like what a stoplight looks like when it's off. That's kind of the same color you get effect when you paint over black. Well, of course you paint over white or other colors, you get that kind of see-through effect. But it looks metallic. It has an actual metallic look to it, but it's also kind of see-through. And on the black, for the Kraken, it looks almost like you had mentioned before, kind of like a mahogany or like type of really deep cherry wood or something. It looks really shine effect. So I redid a lot of my models with that same red.
Did you wear a mask when you were using this?
Why? Did you eat a lot of paint chips as a kid? Why?
Yeah, definitely when using these, make sure you wear a mask in a well-ventilated area. This is a petroleum-based one.
Oh,
it has some really toxic, just something future.
I was upset it just smelled like cherries. It was awesome. I don't know what you're talking about. Masks. It's Mortal Kombat. We're painting models here, man. Just kidding.
Sorry, didn't mean to go off track there. I was just reading.
Jose's all about wearing masks when you're painting your models. Trust me. So I've actually started wearing masks when I'm putting my models together and painting them. I have started doing that. So not when I've been using this though. Now I guess no. Great. I've almost used this whole bottle now, man. I'm gonna be toast. Make it halfway through season 3 and die of cancer. Anyway, I've been painting a lot of my own models, redoing a lot with this red color. I haven't done much in the way of Legion, but I've done a lot of cricks with this. I even got a new unit of Bane Knights.
I finished painting my Flamebringers.
Oh, did you? See what you do when you put your mind to it, Jose?
Yeah,
it's funny because what is really funny. Jason came over one night when I had painted like probably 2/3 of that army, and I had set it up, over here by our movie computer over here, and he came in and he's like, "Look, I got my Nitro painted." I said, the past couple days, I said, "You'll see what I got painted the past couple days." Like, turn around. He saw the models. This is like I don't know how many models there are because there's some sitting over here, but I filled one of those bags full of models, so it had to be at least a few hundred models. This is ridiculous. So anyway, but yeah, it was.
That's a lot of
you don't have a lot to do.
You got the battle mages are over there. You got the house guard halberdiers. Looks like you got 2 units of the house guard halberdiers. You got two or 3 units of the battle mages. You've got
two of the battle mages.
2 of the battle mages. You got 2 of the solos that go along with them.
Yeah.
That cause a polarity.
We're looking at them right now. We can see them.
Yeah, that's quite a significant amount of models there.
Yeah, that's just the ones I don't have trays for yet. I got to go get trays. So anyway, back on topic. Anyway, I found this really cool paint. Again, it's by Model Masters. If you get a chance to pick this up, you want to try it out. They've got other colors too. They have a kind of a turn signal yellow. It kind of does the same effect. They've got green, metallic green,
Hobbytown
blue, teal. It's green. It's just amazing looking.
Most towns have most places you should be able to find Hobbytown places, or if you don't use online, but any of your car where you can find for cars and models and those styles, you should be able to find.
Yeah, I got these at Hobby Lobby. Yeah, so and they were cheap. I mean, these ones here, the bigger ones are about $3 or so, but the smaller ones that I bought that I probably should have gotten, they are like $1.50 a piece. I mean, you can get like a handful of them in different colors and things like that. It's really cool. So try them out if you want to. Wear a mask, of course, and they're just amazing. So anyway, that's what I'm talking about. So before we get into what's been going on in the world of privateer press, I do want to talk about what's going on with CounterSlam. So CounterSlam is gonna be a little bit different from here on out, guys, and we'll get into the reasons why. But I think first, before we get into what's changed, like when we started CounterSlam, Jose and I here were kind of two of the main contributors to it. And of course, Jason and Jeremy were somewhat involved as well. And we really wanted to, create a show because we most of you guys, we'd play our games that we'd stand around for 2-3 hours outside the store after it closed. It's like freezing out, and 2 hours after the stores turned its lights out, and we're outside still talking about this game. And Jason was like, hey, there's a lot of different podcasts going on. At the time, there actually weren't as many as there are now.
Yeah.
And he's like, why don't we, just turn a camera on and just record. And so I was like, okay, I'm game to do that. But if we're going to do it, we got to do it well. And I've met with some of the people who actually do really good, battle reports and things like that. And they say that we actually have one of the best produced shows. Yeah. And, that's awesome. I appreciate the feedback. It definitely is a good morale boost when we're trying to do this. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to do our show live, and we wanted to do it weekly. That was two of the big things that we really wanted to do, and because then it forced us to be on time with things, forced us to stick to a schedule, and the live aspect actually made it a little bit easier because we would take the footage once we were done with the show and just directly load it up to YouTube. We wouldn't have to worry about editing. Because if we did have to edit it, then it would be a little bit more work and it would take a little longer to do. However, one of the things that we've kind of come across in the past 2 seasons is that our show hasn't been getting as many live viewers as we'd really hoped. We were hoping, once things started going, that we would, have 50 plus viewers, and that just wasn't happening. So what we've decided to do as a group is we've decided to actually do away with the live portion of the show. So we won't have quite the interaction that we had before. That a lot of people really, some people partook in. I can think of a few people who logged in every week, and it was cool.
Well, I mean, we definitely had, and we appreciate our loyal fans that did log in every single week. What's his name?
Beatnik. Jay Beatnik. Come on, buddy.
That's for you, buddy.
Hugs, buddy.
And then the gentleman, I can't remember his name, from Saltire, the Kador player. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, we even had one of the guys, the sculptors from Privateer Press, who would watch occasionally too. The guy who did the ground or Earthbreaker and Aurora from Convergence. He sculpted those 2 models. He used to watch too. So,
and I mean, we do appreciate that, but obviously, with the effort that it takes to get everybody here in order to sit around and for us to do the chat portion, and then on top of that, get the game done and everything else. It just, there are a lot more opportunities for us in a recorded format to try and play around with some things to kind of shorten it up a little bit, kind of more concise, and also give us a little bit more time to get some bantering in, a little bit more bantering, a little bit less dead air. We did find that, although we did do a good quality show, we definitely had some great things happening. You definitely, whenever you're playing a game, you experience that time where that, a 30 second or even a 60-second time span where somebody is trying to decide on what it is
Yeah, I
they're
mean,
going to do.
you know, game winning or losing decisions, and it may take a while. And some of our players, you know, take a little longer than others, you know, and people have commented online. And really, honestly, the reason why we've come to this particular decision on this part of the show is that most of these things that we're looking to do are based on the feedback we've been getting from you guys, people watching the show. And most of you guys watch the show after it's recorded and put up on YouTube. So, and we're gonna you know, keep putting our episodes up on YouTube. The game portions, though, being pre-recorded, gives us a chance to make the episodes look better. It helps us to cut down the game times, so you're not sitting there watching a 2.5 hour game or a 2 hour game on two different files online. But instead, maybe making it only a half hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour max, you know, game and instead of just, you know, all those dead air times, what we're going to do is we're actually going to add a commentary where the players are actually going to talk about the game while they're watching it, so that while they're watching it with you, so they can explain to you what's going on, and there's still going to be banter back and forth in that part of the show, which I think will make it much more entertaining. And that was the other part that we really want to do. We always said, you know, the main thing it has to be is entertaining, and if it's not entertaining, then why should we do it? There are plenty of other shows out there that are entertaining to listen to or watch that do a good job. You know,
just a bunch of nerds hanging out making nerdy references.
Yeah, playing with our dolls,
playing with our toys.
But I mean, we even have a sign up here in our studio. It says rule number 1: keep your cool. You know, we all lose. And then rule number 2 is entertain. You know, that has to be our focus, is that we have to entertain people. And you just, like what Jose was saying with those dead times, you know, I would watch it and I'm like, ugh, or people, you know, rolling dice in their hand, or people doing different things, or, you know, things would just drive me nuts watching it. And I'm like, okay, we can do this better. And this is one way we do it better. And so we're going to take it to the next level in that regard. But we can't do it live. That's part of the problem. The episodes will also not be weekly. We're not going to be able to keep up that type of production schedule if we're going to be doing pre-recorded and adding different, you know, effects and different, you know, animations and different, you know, things like that. So the episodes won't be out weekly. We're going to try and do it at least every other week, if not every 3 weeks. 3 weeks would be pushing it. I think we can try to do it every other week. But this might actually push back our start date a little bit more, because we need to get some of the games pre-recorded and done in advance. So now the chat portions, however, what we're going to do is we're still going to pre-record the chat portions, but they're going to be much closer to the actual time. Like the time that you see them online is going to be like within a day or so of when we actually sat down to do it, because we want to make sure that the chat is relevant, because, you know, sometimes people post things, or Private Press posts things, and, you know, you don't want to hear us chatting about something that happened 6 weeks ago that it's not relevant any longer. We're like, wow, think about this rule, and people are like, oh, that was terrible. Yeah, what the heck are they even talking about? But we're still going to keep doing our model reviews. We're going to keep doing our faction focuses. We're going to keep doing the episodes. It's going to be a little bit more spaced out. And really, we want to make the show as best as possible for you guys. And like I said, based on your responses and your critiques of the show, how we've done it so far. We may not necessarily do them in seasons anymore, although we may try to do them in, you know, because we you know, doing it every other week or so, it gives us more time to actually shoot the games and get them.
Well, there's also makes it so that we don't have to take such a long break in between, you know, the times that we
yeah, because trying to just to let you guys know, doing the show every week can take a toll. I mean, you know, okay,
and then you
come up with the topics to talk about. We got to come up with who's going to play the game. We got to play the game. We got to, you know, and while 2 people are playing here, a lot of times we didn't have time. Sometimes we didn't have time to set up in the other rooms to play elsewhere. So people are losing days to actually play, and that's not fun for anybody either. So,
you know, it definitely, as you said before, you know, it gives that opportunity to get some more time in about the game itself, because you can't progress in the game if you're not playing the game.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we'd still be making dumb mistakes and things like that just because we haven't played in a couple weeks.
You know, well, and, you know, having that much space time as well, you know, for anybody, like you do that every single week and then you take a month and a half off, you start to say, maybe it's time to stop.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you don't want
to. I've had all this time, you know, so this, helps us to say that maybe we'll continue, that, will lock us down for hopefully the rest of the year. You can get to see some more Counterslam for the rest of the year, and then we'll see where we end up at the end of the year.
Yeah, in the end, we may actually be able to do more episodes and actually over the span of a year rather than just trying to clump 8-week seasons and then take 2 months off to recuperate and get everything done. Because, making those videos does takes a while. Green screening out, our introduction and things going on. It does take a while. I mean, when we get our episodes done, and sometimes they'd be too long, I'd have to download the episodes, render them, put them into Premiere, cut them up, throw them up there, just so people have something to watch. They could watch the game, and it could take days, just rendering. So it's it can be quite a.
Twitch TV was giving you a hassle.
Yeah, we had issues with that too. I mean, yeah, it got to be kind of, we'd have. I remember one episode we thought that we lost the feeder, got really chunky, and it was fine for everybody. It was just bad for us, and I don't know what that goes with that. So yeah, not doing it live eliminates a lot of problems. So and it will, like I said, it will make it more enjoyable. Plus, we get a chance to bring on people like Joyce, for example, who couldn't make it season 2 until the season finale. She kind of came on at the last minute when I asked her if she would mind coming on, but she'll be able to get in there and start playing more games and actually playing with us, and that'd be really cool to bring her back. We may be able to bring in a couple of new players that play in our meta who would like to be on the show but don't necessarily have Sundays off to do it. So we can even pull more people in, like John, the guy. So you may get to see this Retribution army actually on the table. It'd be pretty cool. Of course, the other thing too, maybe you can talk a little more about this, but one of the things we also would like to do is actually to maybe even review other games.
Yeah, and that's something that we've talked about in the past.
Even at the beginning of Counterslam, we talked about this.
This is it's a community. It's a community of guys and women. Of people who like to get together and play games. And there are other games out there besides War Machine. God, oh no, I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, but you know what? I haven't spent $3,000 on those other games.
No, you're absolutely
and I'm
correct.
Not going to.
And I have not. I have also not spent $3,000 on those other games. I'm probably right around that range myself with my privateer press now with full men off and score and army. Well, I guess there's still a couple things for men off, but
sure.
For the most part, just full men off, full score and armies. I love this game. I absolutely do. But these games, they're extremely time consuming, and sometimes you just want to have a group of guys over. That's just not going to sound right. A group of people over, and you want to play, Cryptozoic has the DC Comics deck building game, which is actually really, really popular in our meta right now. Malifaux is actually starting to...
Malifaux is huge with our group.
Yeah, it started, that started to be, started to become, more of a prevalent thing. Sentinels of the Multiverse was very big last year. Some it's starting to fall off a little bit. But, doing little reviews that, you did have the High Command that came out this past year, and we wanted to do a review on that and, just kind of go over these different things. So whenever you are looking, we would like, the name of Counterslam to start to becoming synonymous with gaming.
Yeah, we actually have a couple guys who want to start recording things in regards to Magic the Gathering, some of the things that are going on in that community. They build a lot of decks, they have a lot of money, and they put together decks and new decks almost every week, and they would actually like to show off some things, and really kind of one of the cool things too in regards to our show Counterslam is that we will get to when we play our games. One of the things we like to do in the past, which you guys have kind of commented on, is that we like to play models that other people don't tend to use. Are there things outside of Bane Knights or Bane Thralls and Satixis Raiders and Cricks? Who knows? But yeah, there are a lot of things that we like. Yeah,
Ghost Pirates.
There are people who actually in our group who wanted to play a lot of Cephalix. I've been playing tonight. I played the Ghost Pirates and two of the Cannon Crews, and they did great.
With Crow's Cutthroats.
Yeah, Crow's Cutthroats. So basically, like playing a lot of those types of models where you just don't get to see them, or you don't know how well they would do on the table or how effective they can be. And that's one thing we like to do. We like to play these other models, and actually now have almost a full collection of Cricks now, so I can actually play anything that's out there, which is nice. And so yeah, those types of things. Like I said, again, it's for the benefit of the people watching it. We want to make it interesting and fun and informative, and that's otherwise, if it's not entertaining, then we'd rather not do it, honestly. So we want to make sure that it's the best it can be.
We do have some plans as well for the for in the future. There will, keep an eye out for anybody who is very much interested in the tournament scene. We do have some people, people like Jason and Joel and TJ and so on and so forth that are very, very very good at the strategy games. They've done it for a long period of time. They definitely have the ability to step up and play in a tournament scene. So they'll be running some more of those tournament lists. So we will have a couple of
it won't just always be just fun lists. Yeah, we're looking to try and do show people some because some new players really want to get involved in the tournament scene. So we want to try and bring those lists together as well. Like Crix may run a Terminus list, or might run a Denegra list or an Egaspi list just to show people what they can do. And we may even maybe in those episodes too, maybe try to break down for people so they understand what these models can do and why those things are important, which is kind of cool too. So, and maybe come with, like I said, some synergies that just other people haven't thought of before. Like, not take exactly the same list that wins with the Egaspi every time, but change it up a little bit and tweaks a couple of things here, add some models that people aren't used to, and show them how that can be just as effective as well.
I think that was one of the most important things that I took away from Chain Attack's episode about the World Team Championships, when they were talking about getting to see what it was that people in like the Netherlands were running, because there are these lists that they just had never even seen before, because it's what the people they were playing against were running in that area, and they didn't get exposed to anything on the outside tournament scene. So I mean, having to go up against those things, I mean, those are one of those things. It's just constantly, and the constant exploration of the game. Privateer Press has given us a great format. They're constantly releasing those new models. Not fast enough, though.
I do feel that way with Crix,
I'm excited. I'm excited, for both of my armies coming up this year. I've got you got the Bog, the Gateman Bokor and the Bogdrag Scramblers are coming up,
March,
along with the Despoiler, which that I believe comes out in March or April, and that's my Voidseer Mordekar. Those are both going right into a Voidseer Mordekar list. I got my new Resnick coming out, and there's a lot of buzz on the internet as to whether or not that always the questions of is his feat going to affect enemy models or not? And judging by what I was listening to from Privateer Press's podcast, it sounded to me that when he was battling, he said that if he killed a lot more of his own models.
So blast may not.
So may not. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's going to be. But you've had some really fun things coming out as well this year. You got your errated Arias, which I think is BS because they gave Arias reach.
I got a chance to play her the other night, and she was amazing with the reach. It helped a lot. I mean, and I think what's cool about that is I think actually now you'll see a lot more of her on the table. You mentioned that one of the press gangers down at one of our local metas had started running.
The very next day, I walk into the store and I see him running his Legion. He owns. I think at one point in time he owned every single army except Crix. Now I think he owns every single army except Crix and Scorn, because he sold me sold me a chunk of his Scorn, and he was dumping that off because he wanted to buy into, I believe it was either more Legion or Convergence. But he owns pretty much every single. He's played almost every single faction, and that was the first thing that he had on the table was Arias, and I mean that's a pretty nasty. I know that's your favorite.
Yeah,
caster.
I love her to death. I mean, I can come up with some crazy lists. I played her with the Archangel the other night and won. But yeah, her having reach helps just immensely, especially with her threat range. Then with dash, she has like a 13-inch threat range or something. And give her flight or something like that on top of that, so she can go over terrain and ignore other models. Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous.
I think it's BS. They gave her reach, but they did not give the Scourge of Heresy reach.
Well, what's funny is her sword is exactly the same length as the Nis swordsman, and they don't have reach.
Yeah.
So,
no, it's BS that she got reach.
A lot of people think that they gave her reach because her next incarnation is going to be in the next book, and they think that her epic version, and she needs reach, and so they think they may have given reach for that. It's
so why did they? But I mean, that makes zero sense. So that you can give reach to the epic version without it having to be in the prime version.
Well, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll keep the same weapon, and if the previous version doesn't have reach, then the next one won't either.
If it is the same sort of Makeda had for her first two incarnations had the Swords of Balesh. And I'm trying to remember what her new sword is called. It's the horn of something. But it's a different sword, and now it has reach. So I mean, I guess that would be the only thing is that she keeps the same sword.
Yeah, which means Chance Arias would still keep the crit decap and the being able to reave Fury if she kills me. Assuming that that's correct.
But it's not going to be the new Epic Absolonia that was on the backdrop.
Oh
I mean, hopefully you're not going to get more than one new Epic. So
if you guys haven't
seen the choose
the new Insider, which most of you probably have by now, but if you check out the new Insider, there's the picture and the guy in the background. If you blow it up, a lot of people are speculating. Jason thought it was something else. I can't remember what he said. He thought it was
like grotesque or something like that.
Yeah, grotesque UA or something. I was like, no. I looked at it. I was like, that's Epic Absolonia. I'm 100% convinced. Only because I said after playing her for several, a couple years now, I said her epic version, because she has the ability where she can buy the flight plus strength and reach. I said her next version is going to have all three of those built in, and that's exactly what it looks like they did with her. She looks like she's like flying off the ground. It's amazing looking. She's got a tail now too, so I'm pretty stoked about that. I'm convinced it's epic. Absolutely, I don't think anybody could convince me otherwise.
And I get a huge base caster that can be shot off the table pretty easily.
Not if you have one focus on it. So, but no, look, I played the third Lilith quite a few times now, and she's a lot harder to kill than most people think. Her defense is actually decent. I mean, people miss her.
Well, Resnick won't have a high defense. That much is definitely certain. But I mean, hopefully he'll have like his base armor. I believe is 17 for the Prime version. So I assume that he would be like, since he's on the chariot and everything, like an 18 or a 19. Which would be awesome.
You could see Menoth with a heavy armor.
Yeah.
Because yours, well, I guess they're considered battle engines. They're not considered light cav or anything like that. So.
Well, he wouldn't be considered light cavalry. He would. It would work the same as it does for, I believe, like the gun carriage, or for Lilith. Where it would be a heavy cavalry. Weapons platform, can make trample power attacks and so on.
Do you know what the speed is on that guy yet?
They haven't said it yet, but I mean, No Quarter comes out as of officially tonight. So tomorrow I'm going to go pick up my new No Quarter. I already got the call. So I'm thinking, I'm assuming that he's in there since Gorshi is in there. I could be jumping to assumptions there, but I'm assuming that most of.
Well, I know Assyria's in there. I've heard people talk about Resnick being in there, but they didn't say Assyria and
Gorshi in there.
So. And Assyria looks like she's going to be disgusting. I've seen hers, and people are talking about bringing double Hyperions now, and I'm like, having ancillary attack is pretty sweet.
8 focus. She can do ancillary attacks, which is awesome for a caster.
Her feat's ridiculous, so it's
true
easier
sight
to get
and
those
signs
crits
of importance.
that you need.
That's
fun.
It'd be that's going to be a nasty. She's going to be an absolute.
You know who's going to paint that model when John buys it? So anyway, I look forward to painting that model, not playing it, but painting it.
And she's not floating. She has flight.
Yeah, she has flight. She's floating. So Gorshade 3, Gorshade 3 and the Afflictor are two other things I was going to talk about. Gorshade 3, looks like a pretty solid caster. Not not as broken, I think, as what people think, but his feat's really interesting too. Of course, they're because models that are in his control area, you put a 3-inch AOE on any number you want, and anything that gets hit in those 3-inch AOEs becomes stationary. And then, of course, you got to remove your models. They basically are destroyed at that point. So what's cool about that, though, what people found a couple ways around that is, one, if you take the pirate crew, the ones that come back, you can run them up, blow them up. They come back next turn as long as your guy's still alive. And then they said the Mechanothralls, if you take the Stitch Thralls with them and the Necrosurgeons, then once they pop, she gets the corpses for them, and then their next turn she can bring them all back, and then Gorshi can actually buy them back with his revive spell. So, or what, I can't remember what it's called. It's like Mocking Life or something. I don't remember. It's something weird like that. But he ends up bringing those guys back. So you can basically bring not, I would say, twice as many, but that spell costs 2 to cast, so it'd be a little expensive. But you could theoretically bring a bunch more back, which is kind of neat. So he's got Ghostly, from what I understand. Sounds pretty cool. He's probably gonna be speed 8. I'm gonna guess. I'm really excited though. He's got the same sword with reach that has stationary if he hits you. So no, I'm pretty excited. He's got Occultation, which he can throw on the main cavalry, which is what they need to be uber epically broken. So looking forward to that. Of course, that's the other thing cool about the main cavalry too is if they die, he can actually bring back, unless it's just small base warrior models. I didn't read that part, so I don't know. They just said you could bring back a model with 1 hit point box left, so that might work.
It's probably a warrior grunt, so yeah.
So
as long as it's not a solo.
Yeah, or UA or something, or whatever.
Yeah, you could be.
I don't know. It might work for UAs. Never know. That's the only good thing about Gorshi. His epic version can.
Doubtful.
So anyway, Gorshi 3 should be a lot of fun. Look forward to getting him, playing him on the table with all the cavalry.
His feet brings him back, and then they go away.
Yeah.
Not a spell.
Yeah. What? For you talking about epic version?
Yeah.
Oh, he just you swap models you have in play for the ones that were dead or whatever. So yeah. All right, and the Inflictor, the new Crix Jack people are talking about. Oh yeah, buddy, he gets they
finally get a shield
soul
jack.
Generator thing, soul matrix thing. Is where he generates the focus like the other Seethers. He's got
what is Crix
reach.
Missing?
He's got a shield guard.
What was Crix missing? Crix is missing nothing. They're missing nothing.
Hey, we don't have.
Oh, so now you need high armor.
Wait,
I'm sorry. So
really
massive amounts of debuff.
It's not even that high armor because he's it still only guns up being 19, which is
why don't you just
Jack has.
I mean, why didn't you just make it a weapon master too while you were at it?
I don't know. The only thing they haven't mentioned is I don't think they've mentioned whether or not he's a character or not. So I don't know. But having two of those, look. You give me Bane Knights, Tartarus, and you give me 2 of those suckers to guard my caster, you'll never win again. 2 shield guard dudes sitting in front of your caster. Oh, I'll take that hit. Next one, oh, he'll take that hit too. No, not gonna be.
Jason's Impaler would get annoyed.
But they said something about it being like it's supposed to be based off some type of Scorpion like design, which was funny because when I first read it, the first thing I thought of was Mortal Kombat Scorpion. I'm like, what? That's kind of weird. Get over here, like maybe have a harpoon. But we already have a spear. We got a few of those guys.
You got a spear, right? With a looks like a.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Scorpion's tail on the end, like a spear with like.
It would be cool though, like because people speculated whether or not he's got 2 arms and like a tail, like actual scorpion tail, which would be kind of cool. I don't know if he's got that or if he's got 2 claws and maybe one's just bigger and it's got the reach and that's kind of a shield type thing. I don't know.
I really want to know who over at Privateer Press was such a big fan of Spawn growing up, because you got the Inflictor.
Oh yeah, all the guys. The we just need a Violator, right?
Yeah, the Violator, the Repenter, the Redeemer. Come on, man.
They name a guy. They name a Merc Al Simmons. It's just over.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
but
you could definitely tell they're big fans of comics over there.
But so I'm looking forward to that Crix Jack. I think it's gonna be pretty cool. Again, I'm gonna assume because I have Shield Guard, I think it's gonna be
one that just came out this last year that had the
Afflictor.
Afflictor,
not the Inflictor. They're gonna be like, oh, what's that? It's the Inflictor. Be like, isn't that a Legion model? No, not that one. Doesn't make Incubus models, so that'd be kind of cool too.
The really, really perverse one that actually kind of looks more like the monster's tongue from Howard the Duck. You know, the Lords of the Overworld. Lords of the Overworld.
Dude, you talk, I haven't seen the movie in like 20 years. I don't remember. So anyway, but those are the new models they've kind of been chatting up over the past few days on the forums and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't have really much else I want to talk about. How about you?
No, that's pretty much about it. Definitely excited about some of the new stuff coming out. I will not make Adepticon this year. Hopefully next year. Definitely going to see you guys at Gen Con. And
yeah, I'm going to be unfortunately out of town that weekend too. I had something come up and they're like, oh, it's the first weekend of April. And I'm like, that's going to be the weekend Adepticon. And sure enough, there it was. So
I will have just moved. So we're trying to do everything there for the move.
That doesn't mean none of us are going. I'm pretty sure Joel's going to be there. I don't know if Jason will go, but
Jeremy might.
Jeremy and Conrad might. So you might see a few of us there. We'll see. Hopefully get there. I need somebody up there and get me, because they're going to sell those Bane cavalry. I need to get somebody up there to get me that Bane cavalry. So that's what I want. So we'll see how that goes.
Yep. Looking forward to the new stuff. Hopefully we'll see you guys soon, and look out for our new episodes. Hopefully should start premiering here in February. Correct.
Hopefully in February. If it ends up being early March, just be patient with us. As like I said, as we get everything kind of set up and get going, we're going to need to kind of learn how to pace ourselves. But we're going to try and get a bunch of games shot in advance, so we can just start just putting things together and just start cranking out the episodes. So we'll see how that goes. So in the meantime, feel free to check out our other videos. If you haven't watched our games or chat portions, feel free to do that. And also don't forget to like us on Facebook, where we also can make announcements too about when we're going to have episodes up and things like that. Plus, we may still do the occasional live event. We may not completely do away with it, since we've got access to the ability to do live stuff. So we could do it. It just might be,
we might have special episodes where we do a live event.
Yeah, there'll be
possibly
events.
like a close to a tournament or something like that.
Sure. So,
but keep your eye out. Always new fun stuff. We always appreciate your comments. Let us know how things are going, what you think of what our new format is like, and any changes that we could possibly make. We'll definitely talk it over with the group.
Yeah. See, you guys can make a difference. Yeah. That's what we're doing now. So you guys have a good night, and we will see you guys on the next episode of Counter Slam.